Well, good afternoon. I'm going to introduce Gerald Peng with Mocato this afternoon. We're going to have a little chat about analytics and real estate and a little bit of how he found himself into this business. So, Gerald, why don't you tell me a little bit about what your company does, and then I'm going to be probing you a little bit about who you are.
Of course. So Mikado basically enables other technology-based companies in the analytics area. One of our prime clients, Rent Relay, leverages data analytics to support the rental activities of both a property manager and a tenant. So that way they can find in a more efficient and effective manner a rental property and, of course, the right fit.
So there's an interface there. There's a buyer and a seller.
Correct.
He's selling
yes.
a piece of property, a renter who's the customer, and you're helping that relationship in terms of helping them make the right decision.
Exactly.
So are you supporting both sides? You have a bias toward one or the other?
Well, at the time we're working predominantly with landlords and tenants. Landlords and property managers, I should say. But we are moving towards more inclusion of the tenant in terms of how they can best determine what is the best property for them, and as well how to best structure the methodology in remitting the rent and so on and so forth.
Okay, that's an interesting intermediary, because clearly I want to present my property in the best possible light and get my best tenant and get my maximum price.
Yes.
And so to build a system with that sort of inherent bias built into it may not be ethical. And I've seen that in grading systems that show a certain favor to the property manager, and that those grading systems end up being tilted in favor of the industry instead of being a real honest statement. How do you make sure the ethics in this is?
Well, I think ethics in any form of presentation of data is always going to be a challenge. We highly suggest anybody that's using the system to be, of course, ethical and straightforward on what they're presenting. The last thing you want is to waste somebody's time. If they came to look at a property and it's not as described, frankly, the transaction's not going to go through anyways.
So does that happen? Have you picked up on that? I mean, you can suggest it, but any violators?
To date, I haven't found people that have violated
this. Do
this.
Do any periodic auditing just to see alignment?
We do check, and we right now the volumes are such that we have the ability to check quite in detail.
Okay.
So we haven't seen any major concerns with that.
Good. So what's the take-up look like? Let me get into your entrepreneurial spirit. You're in a lean startup.
Yes.
How big is your company?
Not very big.
Sounds like it might be small. Okay, small, in a startup mode.
Yes.
Here in Edmonton?
Yes, that's correct.
And any reach? Do you reach beyond the city?
Well, right now, my business partner is actually located in Toronto, so we both are having both an Edmonton reach and a Toronto reach.
Okay, so it may be small, but it's got reach of several thousand miles. And you guys must be communicating well.
Yes, technically, we do have quite a wide reach.
How did you find your partner?
Well, my partner I've known since university, actually.
A friend?
And yes, a very good friend of mine. So Shimim and I have been working together on this project for quite some time, and we found it to be quite an exciting endeavor.
Is it all sweat equity, or you have some cash on the table?
It's a lot of sweat.
A lot of sweat.
Yes. It's
you
tremendous
find
amount
that
of sweat.
Do you know other entrepreneurs that are starting up a product or company, not unlike your own? Do you know others?
Yes, I do. I met them through various organizations. Some have started with just the sweat equity. Some have been capitalized by venture capitals.
How's it going?
The ones that we associate with have been doing quite well. I find the entrepreneurial spirit is it's a very positive spirit, very dynamic. People want to see their enterprises do well, and not purely for money, but for meeting a lot of goals and objectives that actually are not money related at all.
You used the word positive. I mean, I can recall some of the early days of my support, whether it be financing or consulting at early stage. And I lived in sweaty pajamas for a couple of years with some of these companies. I mean, this was not a bed of roses. This is not the romance that everybody thinks entrepreneurial drive is. Come on, let's be honest. I mean, is this that easy?
No, it's not that easy.
24/7?
If there were more than 24 hours, then I would probably use them too. It's definitely not easy by any means. But I think it is very important to maintain a level of positivity.
So what keeps you going if it's not positive all the time? Some people want that romance of everything working out well every day. What keeps you going?
That's a great question, Perry. I really believe I'm doing something that can benefit the rental real estate industry, and with every client and potential client I meet, they've given me that positive feedback that demonstrates such.
Okay,
So,
but you're not just a romantic. I mean, there's got to be some profit in here someplace, and to do something meaningful for society. I should sound like a 71-year-old retired consultant. So you got to put milk in the fridge, right?
Yes, you do have to put milk in the fridge. That is true.
And what's it looking like?
Well, we can see growing revenues and whatnot. Are things growing as quickly as we'd like? No, not as quick.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of learnings that we have to complete in order to move to the next step.
Okay, so you're really in those very early stages of product testing. How do you learn? What do you learn from? Is it always mistakes, or do you use analytics yourself?
We definitely leverage analytics, while working at Rent Relay. There's a lot of information that we're gathering, not only from potential and current clients,
Right.
but also from the industry itself, to truly understand what is happening in the marketplace. We also are, of course, keeping an eye out on competitors too.
I was going to ask about competitors. I mean, it doesn't sound like that there's an intellectual property in here or something that's proprietary and so readily protected. Do you worry about competition, and is it out there already?
We have identified some companies that can compete against us, yes. I think at this stage in the game, our focus is to make sure that we have the best product for our clients.
Okay.
And the greatest service. The Canadian market is quite a big market, and we're not so picky in terms of gobbling the entire market. So.
Okay, so one of the challenges I see many small companies face is they really have a lot of romance built into their product. They love their product, they love what it can do, they've assessed the market, but they have no background in money, marketing, management, manpower, moxie, mergers, marriages, metrics. All the processes that it takes to advance a product to a commercial reality. What are some of the challenges you're facing of actually commercializing your product?
Well, I think the biggest challenge that we face, Perry, is the education of the consumer. A lot of property managers and landlords are not aware of an electronic form of collecting rent payment. And as a result, they're actually not actively looking for this type of service. So being able to educate them en masse has been the biggest challenge of all.
So is that the principal feature then of your product, is the being able to process rental payments online electronically?
Yes,
is that the principal offering?
Yes, correct.
So that's a convenience to the landlord, and it's obviously a convenience to the renter. There's obviously data in here as well about who pays and who doesn't pay and how reliably.
Correct. Yes.
So it's fairly rich.
Yes, rich in data. Yes, I would agree.
Is anything proprietary? Do you have to be legally protected in any way because you've got information now about how much people are buying and who's buying what? Is there any issues there?
We do have some very strict privacy policies within our organization.
Okay.
And myself, coming from a forensics background, I adhere to a very strict code when it comes to privacy.
A forensic background. Tell me about that. What's that mean?
Well, for actually quite a number of years, I've been a computer forensics and e-discovery expert.
Okay.
So I worked for a large consulting firm to help large litigations and investigations.
So you mean there are evil lurks out there in the world of internet and electronics and commerce?
Surprisingly. I mean, it's not limited to internet and commerce. It could actually be the guy you work next to in the office.
Yeah.
There's surprisingly a number of things that you can do bad on a computer, and people call us in to determine what has gone wrong.
So tell me, Gerald, how did you get into this? Who is this Gerald Peng anyway? I mean, if I was dating and I want to know who Gerald is, and we're sitting in a bar having a drink, who are you?
Well, Perry, you're going to need more than one date.
Okay, I'm glad to
And
hear
probably
that.
more than one drink, too.
Right.
Perry, I always was fascinated by technology and data. When I first started in computer and forensics, I took on the data analytics portion in the organization to better understand how to cut, process, manage the data, present it in a more effective fashion.
So in terms of the symphony, you were probably looking at data and the linearity of data and what it means and how to apply it. But that took you, but somehow you found that way into business. You showed a certain fascination with actually getting into the profit side of that equation.
Yes. So the geek in me was
Right.
very much in data analytics.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I knew real estate and real estate investment was very important to my financial well-being. So I invested in real estate as well. And actually, one of the reasons why Rent Relay was started is because I had a property that was located far away from my home, and it was a student rental. And it was very challenging to collect rent on time. So hence the genesis of this. Because
Amazing. A problem. And you went about solving a problem.
Yes, I went about solving a problem. My financial institution had nothing to help me.
Right.
And calling around other financial institutions, it was the same answer.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. What about family? Is your family supportive of what you're doing?
yes, they are very supportive. My mom, dad, and
They live
sister.
here in Edmonton?
No, they're all back in Toronto. So
Toronto. Now that's not far from Edmonton. Where is that? North side? That's east of here, isn't it? I think
it
they know where
certainly
we
is.
are. I decided I'd try and check out where they are.
well, the pilot on Sunday thankfully knew where Edmonton was, so
Yeah, that's
here I am now.
Yeah. Well, most think it's on the other side of the Arctic Circle, but I think we're trying to counter that with these interviews.
Yes. Well, I mean, we only had snow up until May, so.
Yeah. Well, my yard's just getting cleared now. Well, I want to thank you, Gerald. This was excellent. I've had
you,
a
Perry.
delightful opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. I wish you every success with Mikado
Thank you.
and with your partner in Toronto. So
Thank you very
you're
much.
obviously got great reach and chance for success. So congratulations.
Thanks, Perry.
Thanks.
Join the conversation next year as more cities become data-driven. Become a community partner. Contact us at info@abctech.ca.